Hello, and welcome to Waves of YA, a podcast focused on young adult literacy, brought to you by the Ocean County Library's Teen Literacy Work Group.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vince Limbo. I work as the young adult librarian for the Manchester branch of the Ocean County Library, and I'm joined by two of my wonderful colleagues. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
I am Miss Chris over at the Island Heights Library.
And I am Ryan. I am one of the teen services librarian at the Toms River branch.
Okay. And right now, you all have the awesome honor of listening to us talk about competitions in young adult novels, not just in novel format, but it could be graphic novels, manga, or even other types of media. But the core topic is just how we feel about when there are competitions that are introduced where there are losers and then there are winners and everything in between where everyone's scrambling over each other in order to win the grand prize. So I'll read the first question. What is it about competitions during books that excite and or intrigue audiences the most? If it's, people fighting against each other, is it the battle royale aspect, or is it the alliances that have to, occur between contestants in order to survive longer, or is it the betrayals that happen, or the combat, or even the stakes? Does anyone want to answer that?
I like the training for it of if it's not like surprise you're in a contest of strategy planning, what do you need to work on to improve? Because that's part of a lot of things is how well did you plan ahead? And then also I like seeing the alliances and the relationships building between characters of okay, because most of the time they're I'm going to come in alone, I'm going to do it all by myself, and that's never true. That's in anything. You normally find someone that you're going to end up partnering with, buddying up with, working together, even if it's it's only for right now. It normally builds into more.
Yeah, I agree with that too. The training aspect to me, when you're watching a movie, they do a training montage or something like that. I always like seeing that. But also, I really like the alliance part as well. To slight spoiler alert, the latest Hunger Games book, Sunrise on the Reaping, has a really great building of alliances between the different districts that are involved in the Hunger Games, and it goes in different ways than you expect it to go, which I thought was really interesting, and seeing how these different personalities play off one another and how they're able to both work in their training, but also in their problem solving when they get into the arena aspect. Sometimes I feel like the actual competition itself can be a little wishy-washy, hit or miss, depending on what it is. I mean, obviously your Hunger Games are more battle royale type stuff, but then there's some where the competition is just, it's like a sports tournament or something like that, or so it's okay, it just depends on what it is. But yeah, for me, because you get a lot of good character development both in the training montages and in the alliances, so that really is interesting.
That's wonderful answers from you both. I agree with both of you. I really love it when they introduce the characters that are participating in tournaments, because there's almost always a clear line between who are the front runners, who are the favorites. These are people who, have been training for this their whole life, and then you usually have the underdog. So there's usually a clear line that's drawn, and what sides there are. Of course, you'll get morally gray characters who are you don't know if to trust them or not. You definitely don't know if you want them on your side because you don't know if they'll stab you in the back. But I think the most exciting thing for me is seeing the scenery or the settings. Usually competitions take place in an arena. There are some competitions that are even, extend past one location. I mean, there's one that that I absolutely loved. It's Thieves Gambit. It's a globe-trotting competition that comprises of a series of dangerous heists, puzzles, and traps, and it's only participated by thieves, renowned, well-known thieves. And it's not just one place, they're traveling, they're globe-trotting all over the world. So I just love that the grand scale of it. It's not just in one
Mm.
place like a cornucopia in a Hunger Games. Sometimes it can take place in other locations, but
Mm.
it's just the stakes and the scenery and the grand scale of it that I really enjoy.
Nice.
Who would like to do the second question?
I'll go for the second one. Do you prefer a standalone or a series?
I think if it's not going to do something more with it, I want a standalone of like, if it's just like, oh, we're having like a competition, like keep it contained. Like the Hunger Games started off as a trilogy and has expanded out since then, but it's not like, oh, it's the focus. The competition is a vehicle for something else, and like the vehicle is social commentary, dystopian, like what are our values as a society? And also like overthrowing the government, and then like how did we even get here with all the prequels. So I don't mind when it's longer if it's doing more than just like a competition. Also, I don't mind like obviously manga, it's going to take a couple volumes to get through a tournament arc, but like if it's like, oh, we're just having one competition and we're not doing too much like world building outside of that, I'm like, I only need one volume.
Yeah, I'm similar in that one. There's a book, I was just looking it up, Fable for the End of the World by Ava Reed. That's a standalone dystopian one, but that is, it's very self-contained within the world it's creating and stuff like that, and that allows for better, richer character development. But sometimes a trilogy, or even like in a manga or an anime, like having that arc can be good because you do get more development, you do get more of what the competition's about, the stakes, that sort of thing. You can see different characters in there, heroes, villains, morally gray characters. But I think it really depends on the type of story you want to have told, if it's, because you can tell sometimes when they're definitely stretching something, and it's like, okay, yeah, this did not need to be 6 volumes, 1 or 2 was fine, but
for standalones, Velocity, I can't remember the author, but it's a race where like kind of like a little like you win supplies in the race, but it's like you can sabotage each other. There's like traps and stuff. There's like things that come out and kill you. Standalone volume, they didn't do a lot of world building. Like you get to like know about the characters a little, but I'm like, this isn't super deep, and I'm glad they didn't try and make like a sequel to it. It was like fun story, great on its own. I'm like, I don't need more of this world. It seemed like she resolved like, oh, I want to prove that I can do it, and then also like get some supplies for my hometown.
I agree with you both. I do love standalones, and the reason why I love standalones is, once again, it kind of harkens back to the stakes of it. If you do a competition right after this grand competition, it kind of cheapens the original competition, in my opinion. Well, with the exception of the Hunger Games, just like Chris said, it was a vehicle for like a revolution or a change to this dystopian government. But in a book I loved reading in the past, The Scorpio Races by Max Stiffvater.
Yes.
It is just what?
I recommend it to everybody all the time. I love that one so much, and like the love story, there's some like aggressive air quotes in that for you guys that are listening.
Love story.
It's like not a focus, and like everyone's priorities were correct. So good.
It's so awesome that you brought that up, because one of my favorite movies is a movie called Hidalgo, which is another
that's a good one.
horse racing.
Yes.
It's got Aragorn, Viggo Mortensen in it and everything. So when I was reading this was such like, oh my gosh, this reminds me just like Hidalgo, but with magic, and but it is just a one standalone novel about this deadly annual horse race that's featuring dangerous supernatural water horses, and it is just one and done, and like this is all you get. So just like knowing that, not knowing that there's not going to be a sequel, and that whoever dies or whoever loses stays dead or stays lost, I love that. I now I understand why people do series of it. They want to stretch the world building and everything, but when there's a competition, there are winners and there are losers. And when it sticks to that core thing of it, it makes it that much more compelling, because there's no do-overs and there's no restarts. And I love that.
I loved Puck. Was it Puck in that one? Was it? Yeah.
Yep. Puck.
Yeah, Puck. Like, everyone's like, oh,
Puck
the
on
boy, and like trying to be all like, isn't he so cute? And she's like, I'm trying to survive, and if I don't win this, I'm gonna be homeless and destitute. I don't care about the boy. I don't got time for this. And meanwhile, like reading it, I'm like, but you like each other. Like, they were the last people to figure out anything because they're both like, I need to win this competition.
Yeah.
So good.
So good. Chris, did you want to read the third question now?
Absolutely. Who do you root for in a competition, book, or storyline? Is it the main character, side character? Is it the villain?
I think so there are usually when these competitions are introduced, there's always a jerk somewhere hidden within the ranks. There's always someone who looks down on the protagonist or looks down on other people or is so arrogant. And sometimes they'll be the antagonist, and sometimes they'll be an anti-hero, or sometimes they'll be an enemy that, oh my God, enemies to lovers, slow burn romance. But I love it when there's someone who rubs wrong against other people and goes against the grain, because it just adds a little more spice to it. Like, oh, not everyone's nice to each other. There are people who will crawl over each other's dead bodies just to get to the finish line. So I usually go for I call them the wild card, or the people that are like, you don't know if they're not good or evil. They're just there to shake things up a bit. So I usually root for those people.
Yeah.
I normally like side characters. Like, I want normally... I like the side characters, and like, I have a tendency to be like, I like the side character, and I'm like, and now I have doomed them to die tragically. I can pick them. I'm like, this is my favorite character. I'm like, I don't know, give them like another half a book until like something happens, and now they're like the motivation to win. Yep. So I was like, I like the fun side characters because like sometimes they stick around and you get to see them again, especially in like manga where it's like a tournament arc where they'll pop back up and they didn't die if I'm lucky. So like, you're like, oh, we might see you later on in the series. I'm like, or they were just like a fun, like something different happening besides like your core like main protagonist.
Yeah, I kind of like the villains actually, because
Villains
they
are always good.
they can be really interesting. They usually, like Vince was saying, they will crawl over their competitors' bodies to get to the finish line of the competition. So like that kind of energy is that chaoticness that I kind of like. And then sometimes, its motivation isn't necessarily always to win the competition. Sometimes it's just to go in and mess stuff up and, be chaotic in that sense. But it also works just as a foil for our protagonist too, like in that sense. So, and sometimes, like our protagonist can be, a little vanilla, let's be honest. And then so to have someone who's, that chaotic and wild and interesting does make for a good story. So
I think that's why like we talked about before, the Hunger Games franchise, I think that's why the contestants are so memorable, because they almost always introduce the career tributes, which are the people who are want to win, are predicted to win, and they're almost always compelling. So that really hits that on the nose.
Yeah, a good villain tends to stick out, I feel like, more so.
They reinforce like the society's values, or they're a foil for like the weakness or strength of your protagonist. So you see like, okay, where's your protagonist lacking? Because normally the villain has that as their strength.
It's back to me. So what makes a good competition in your opinion? It could be any of the competitions.
I'll go first. I think if for our protagonist or antagonist, whoever's in the competition, that the stakes are personal, I think, for them. So, in the case of the Scorpio races, those Puck's going to be, homeless or destitute and that stuff. For the Hunger Games, they have to survive in order to get food or living, things like that. So having clear-cut stakes is good. I also think that if the rules of the competition aren't super complicated, that makes it a little easier to follow, and then you can sort of kind of guess where things might turn. There's always a twist or a pivot in these kind of things, because of the nature of it with the contestants and stuff. Let me see, there's one more. And then I think if you can also imagine yourself doing it too, where again, if it's not so complicated, because Vince and I were talking about this before, like, because a lot of them do have this sort of physical element into it as well, but like there's some of them, where like it's a school election or something that's technically a competition if you want to get down to it, so something like that.
I like something that like subverts expectations in some way of like, okay, here's the rules. This is how you win. Either the winner is clever about how they win without it being like a deus ex machina, or like Rocky is iconic as a movie for the first one because he loses. It's not like he worked really hard, he trained, and he still lost. And like that's what the story is. It's kind of a like downer, but it's not about winning or losing. And like there was a trend in the 80s where a lot of like the movies like Cutting Edge, which I love, like the ice skating romance one, you don't know if they win because that's not the point of the competition. The point of the story is them falling in love. So like it's not about like the protagonist has to win, but like if they win, be clever about it or have the end subvert our expectations.
Yeah.
I agree with what Ryan said about having there be rules, and I also feel like having punishment for those who break the rules, because having a strict like outline, like you're allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do this. If you do this, you will suffer. Kind of also adds like a little tension in the atmosphere and a little bit of fear, like, oh, I like, for example, like in the Hunger Games, oh, I can't cross this barrier because something bad will happen to me, or there are dangers that lurk there. I also think what makes a good competition are the challenges. There's this book, I keep throwing out these books, but I made a list of all of them that I've read. But there is a book called The Inheritance Games, where this is one of the less violent competitions. It's about just a short premise. It's about a girl who inherits all this money from this billionaire who she's never met. And in order to, acquire it, she has to live in his house for 1 year with the rest of his family. But it isn't a normal house. It's a house that's filled with puzzles and red herrings and loose ends and dead ends, and she goes in there and she doesn't know where to begin. So I just love that. I love how, like, where are you gonna go? What are you gonna do? What's gonna stop you? How are you gonna overcome it? I think that makes a competition very memorable.
So I haven't read The Inheritance Games and actually didn't really know the description other than like it's Maureen Johnson, and I'm like, oh, I like her stuff, and I just haven't read it. But you describing it, it sounds like the Westing game.
Yes.
But okay, is it similar?
Yeah.
It's like that on steroids, and it's also like that if with a little Knives Out sprinkled in.
Yeah,
because
it's definitely
there
got
are
a
other
element to it. Yeah.
Can you solve the puzzles while you're reading it? Because like that's what I loved about the Westing game was like they'd show you the puzzle, and then like I had to copy it and trace it so I didn't draw in the library book, and then like solve the puzzles. It was so fun.
Well, the thing is, she always talks with, she has someone in the family who she bounces ideas off of. So you're there with them thinking this puzzle over. So you could try and solve it, but you also know that what they're thinking because they say it out loud to each other.
Okay.
Yeah. Read it if you love the Western game.
We read it in library school. Actually, it was one of our like recommended reading lists for YA lit books, and like that was really good. And then that actually got expanded out into a couple of books now. I think it's like 3, 4, maybe 5.
It's a whole like little franchise now.
Yeah. There's a lot of them. So
but it's one of the less violent ones, right? Which I liked, because usually when you're talking about competitions, of course there's life and death competition.
Yeah, it's very much dystopian type stuff. So that was something.
But this one is just who gets the money and who doesn't, and you all live.
I will definitely bump that up on my TBR list. That is never ending.
Ryan, you want to do the next one?
Yeah, sure. So. Question 5. Do you like competition stories or story arcs in manga, anime, TV shows, and/or movies?
I do. Like it depends on what genre the
Mm.
like main thing is, what flavor of like competition I want in it. Like slice of life, kind of realistic fiction, like a field day tournament arc where it's like a little like fun like one-off episode or type of like couple chapters. If it's like an ongoing series, but like it has to fit the vibe of the rest of the story. If it's going to be like because like there's always like the like fun episodes. Like there's the beach episode, there's the sports episode, there's like whatever. Like don't suddenly like I keep reading manga where I'm like it's gonna be a fun manga, and I'm like and now everything is sad and it's like
The stakes
life
are
or death, and I'm like
so
oh like we have
high.
taken a
Yeah, yeah.
hard turn. And I'm like oh I don't like when we went from a
Pivot.
fun competition. Or
Yeah.
like give me a little warning that it's coming from like
Hmm.
fun competition to like dystopian. We have to overthrow the government.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes that happens. There's a graphic novel I read a couple months ago. It's called Off Menu by Oliver Gerlach. I'm probably mispronouncing that name.
Ooh.
So it's set in this fantasy world with fantasy characters, and it's about a young chef who's in a kitchen and she's working for this really horrible chef. But she's a very good cook, but a lot of her talent is going not noticed because he has a big ego. So the whole crux of it is that she challenges him to a cooking competition. So that's like at the end, middle end of the book. Like that's, there's just like a training montage and gathering ingredients and stuff like that. So it's like that actually ended up being really kind of fun to see, even though like all the elements are, different fantasy type things, but like that was kind of fun. And the stakes were like super low key. There weren't like dystopian, like overthrowing a government or anything. It was just basically whoever cooks the best meal gets to be the head chef of the restaurant. Um, but as for overall competition stories, yeah, I like them for the most part. Again, it does depend on like the genre they're in. Like Rocky, for example, is a great the first one anyway. The first one's good. Creed 2 with Michael B. Jordan, the first Creed, is really good for that. I mean, any kind of like sports movie too can be good in that sense of competition. I'm trying to think of one. What was I don't think in the Sandlot they do any competition stuff, but I know, but
They fight against the other baseball team.
okay,
So
okay. It's been a
so
while since
there's
I've
like
seen it. So
they're like
yeah, yeah,
they come from a poor neighborhood, and then you
yeah.
see all these
So yeah,
upscale kids
those.
on their bikes.
Okay, yeah. So it's been a little while since I've seen it, but like that level of stakes is also set within the story too. So it's like a little bit, it's not just a sharp pivot or anything like that. So that helps. Um,
Hmm.
and then, obviously reality shows too only have their own level of competition depending on what it is. So,
I may be in the minority, but I don't like those shows.
mm,
I
okay,
I think
interesting.
the only reality TV show competition that I like would probably
Mm,
be like what Ryan touched on, cooking stuff. So like Top
mm.
Chef,
Oh yeah, yeah.
or with
Those
where
things.
there's Gordon Ramsay and
Hmm.
people's dishes are insulted. But I
Oh God, what
can't
was
do the
the
Great
Bachelor.
British
Iron
Bake
Chef?
Off.
British Bake
Oh,
Off,
I used to
right?
watch Iron Chef
Yes.
subtitled like
Yeah,
as a kid for
Hmm.
like ever.
it's
Yeah, that was
good.
Um,
always fun.
okay,
Yeah.
but for competitions, like Jeopardy's a competition show.
Jeopardy would
Yes,
be, yeah.
I
And I
love
mean,
that.
I watch Jeopardy like every
Hmm.
day religiously, and if I miss it, we record it. So like, me and my fiance can watch it together. It's why
Yeah,
like
that's
I
great.
talked about the classics. I'm reading classics to win Jeopardy.
I love Jeopardy too.
Jeopardy's
Um,
good.
I love competition stories just like you both.
Hmm.
I think whenever they're introduced, there's an attention, it grabs your attention.
Mm.
It
Hmm.
doesn't matter what it is. It's just when people have to go against each other. And I think there's a
Mm.
layer of excitement no matter what it is. So I really love competition stories too.
Mm.
Um, what is your favorite competition that's been introduced in a fictional universe and why? I definitely, this is gonna be weird because I do gush over the ones where they're violent and people die, but I think the manga Blue Lock,
Mm.
it's a soccer manga. It's
Okay.
about no one dies, obviously, but there's this, there's this place, this facility that accepts the best strikers, and strikers in soccer are the ones who score. they're the ones who are always in the front. They're not in the middle or the defense. So they're the ones who always score. There's like this idea to get the best strikers from all the high schools in Japan and to put them in this facility, and they literally knock each other out by playing soccer. And the goal is to create a soccer team where everyone can score, even the goalie, because they're all strikers. They're not goalies, they're not right fielders. I thought that was so unique. And it was just, it's like not just like the glory of being the best soccer player and leading Japan into the Olympics or World Cup. It's also like who gets the most money, because there are organizations who will pay so much money for these young and upcoming soccer players. So I thought that was very unique. I don't think it's been done that way before. Anyone else want to take a shot at this question? Do you have a favorite one?
So I've got two favorites. Number one is I do. So I love specifically the first Dark Tournament for Yu Yu Hakusho. Like I said, because you get we're already introduced to the Toguro brothers, and then like who's the masked fighter, but then every team has like their own personality. Some of the members like end up becoming allies. Some of them like even within the individual teams. So like they all have their own vibe, their own flavor, and like you see these characters later on in the series again in the second Dark Tournament, which like not as good, but like it was still exciting like when the three different like kings were battling it out of like seeing what alliances were drawn, because like at one point they were all allies with Team Urameshi and then they weren't, and it was so fun just to get all these characters. And my other one is Haikyuu, the volleyball tournament of like, because they have like
that's another sports manga. Let's go.
I enjoy a sports manga. I'm currently Ryan, you just sent out an email about Red Dog, and I'm like, I just started reading volume 1. So I love that one. Again, like they're all on different teams, they're competing against each other, but they're all high school kids, so like you're gonna be friends with kids from other schools too, and like obviously you have a shared interest. And like they grow up and they go on to different teams, and like you're no longer on your high school team, you're on like different like professional teams, so it's so fun for me.
So yeah, for me, I've not read much manga. I'm getting into it. There's different ones I'm getting into and stuff like that based on that. But like I think in terms of competition, and I'm gonna go old school, like the original Pokemon anime that came out in 1996 and stuff like that. That I think at that time was like that first competition of it. And yeah, there's the collectathon element of it. You collect all the Pokemons, but then those battles that they would do and things like that add that level of interesting competition, because there's different types and things like that. And then I had friends in middle school or elementary school at the time that had the Game Boy games and things like that. So they would be like, oh, in the game it's different here, and then in the show it's like this, and they change things around. So that was interesting to get into that, because I think with that too is there's that like element of strategy too that's really interesting, not just from a video game perspective, but also like in any competition too. Like there's different ways that both the characters, or if it's a video game, for example, players can do different combinations of character traits or other types, to add different and interesting strategy to what they're doing. So
those are wonderful answers from both of you. Chris, you want to go to the next question?
Yeah. Do you think a battle royale competition can be applied to a library program format? And if so, how would you facilitate and or regulate it?
Okay, interesting.
Very interesting.
I think an escape room would be good.
Yeah.
When I was doing an interim, this was like 4 years ago now, we had an escape room group come into the library and stuff. So there was that level of competition. We had a timer on it, not like a very long timer, maybe 30 minutes, but There were puzzles that they had to solve. There were clues. So, and they had to work together in different teams, and we split them up based on their ages. So it was like teens and tweens and stuff like that. And then each little box that they unlocked would lead to the next table that had another clue, and then that would lead to another clue. So that like, kept them interested, that little, breadcrumb trail of going on and stuff. And then the big final one was the one you all had to work together to put your clues together, because that had the big master secret to unlock the big treasure chest that was there, which was pretty cool. As far as other programs, though, I'm not sure. So what do you guys have?
Looking at it. Oh, you want to go?
I'll go for it.
Go for it.
Okay, so I always do, I don't do it for the Winter Olympics as much because it's a little bit harder, but I do, when it's the Summer Olympics, I do Library Olympics, which is like kind of minute to win it games a lot of the time, where it's like just minute to win it games. Last year it was like how long, or a couple years ago, it was how long can you stand on one leg, like just simple, easy, like you're competing for like best time, farthest distance, longest whatever. And I've done like full brackets, like for rock, paper, scissors tournaments, of like drawing it out. Because I like a competition to the point where like I've been doing so many competition things, even with like the school where my teens for sale a couple years ago were like, can we challenge the other sale groups to a volleyball tournament? And I was like, no. And they're like, but you want to do it? And I was like, you're not wrong. I love a competition, guys, but like the amount of paperwork to get that approved and get everyone to the same spot is too much to do on a whim. Like we needed to plan that last year.
I was about to say, like, something physical is very tricky, because I remember trying to do small games outside, because we have a nice lawn, grassy field right next to the Manchester Library, but I was told it was a liability thing because, bee allergies
we have
and everything. So you can't do anything too physical, but just like what you both were talking about, indoor competitions can definitely be done. It's funny that Chris mentioned Jeopardy, because I actually do Jeopardy here at the Manchester Library. I do Jeopardy with PowerPoint. So it's almost always a themed thing, usually for Women's History Month or Black History Month, or sometimes I'll have different categories. And I have someone donated to the library little buzzers. So that they're battery powered.
That's fun.
They make a wacky noise. Whoever does it first gets to answer. Now, I understand competitions are competitions. I give an award to everyone at the very end, no matter what. And it's always like something edible. But it's the bragging rights for whoever can earn the most points.
Nice.
Yeah, I do. I very much sometimes the prize is just bragging rights. And like when I first got hired, we used to do competitions between branches. Yes, we used to do different types of competitions between branches, which is also partially why my like teens grew up to be super competitive, because I'm like, we're competing. Like we broke it down based on like, obviously like Island Heights is a one-room schoolhouse. We don't have like the amount of people through like Tom's University. You're competing against other similar sized branches for like different things of like who can get the most like people to read books. So like I would be breaking out as reader services like which building per branch size had the most like summer reading books, like stuff like that.
Okay.
But like I had no issue telling the teens like I am trying, and like the elementary school kids are like, Miss Chris is trying to win this competition. Like, what do you win? I'm like, I just get to brag and say we're the best, and that's really all I want.
That's the prize. That's awesome. Bragging rights.
I was like, so like you didn't win anything as a like if your branch won any of these things, but I was like challenging the kids of like, Miss Chris wants to win to be able to say I'm the best and have them like, and they just like all in, and I'm like when they were like, I want to have like the volleyball tournament, I'm like, I did this to myself.
Now we were talking, you guys actually tripped a memory. I forgot one of my colleagues here and I did this last summer with our sale teams. We did a slang bee. So it's kind of like a spelling bee, but we use slang.
Oh my goodness.
6, 7, skibbity, all those things. Yeah. Because we, it was, to make a long story very short, it ended up just being with our sale teams, and it was really fun. And they broke up into groups. So then we would have like a printout of the words of like, what are some of the slang that you guys use to describe someone who's cringy or cooked, chat, we're cooked, that sort of thing. And then they would vote on it, and then which one ever got like the most points would do it that way. We ended up 3D printing like little awards for like the ones who had the best ones. But at the end, because we didn't want anyone to feel bad, we made little buttons, and then we had a button maker so they could do that too. So that level of competition, though, really got everybody excited about it. So we had like some really good debate about like what slang is still good and what slang, is like on the way out, that sort of thing. And we also learned a lot of slang too. So like that was a nice little bonus for us. And it wasn't violent. Nobody,
Yeah.
fisticuffs or anything like that. So, but that was really fun. So, bingo too. We did a bingo one. I forgot about that too. So that could also be a competition if you want to get technical about it in terms of programs, so.
Do you guys have scavenger hunts at your branch? Like for the kids department?
Scavenger hunts for the children's department, where
Okay.
there are pictures hidden all over the children's department.
We had one when I first started here in Times River in 24. It was an anime one, but we
Okay.
haven't done one in a while. But we do have ones in our children's department, and occasionally, like, Reference will do one for certain bigger events, that are
Okay.
going on. But yeah, those are always good too. Yeah, for
Yeah, like
fun.
they're like a solo competition of like,
Mhm.
can you find
Yeah.
everything? But because my branch has been doing it since before I started here, so like
Mhm.
more than 10 years. So I have the teens make the scavenger hunt because
Mm.
they did the scavenger hunt as kids now. So
Wow.
like, yeah, so like they do all the scavenger hunts. It's super fun because like
Mhm.
seeing what they use as clues for things is
Interesting.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm like, so this is how we're describing. Like, also they never put things like they always put someone like at least one somewhere weird, and I'm like, guys, if you're putting it somewhere weird, you gotta tell me. They'll stick things on my desk, and I'm like, I have like all the kids' drawings on my desk, and I'm like, I can never find it when you do that. You have to tell me.
Uh,
All right.
Okay.
Who wants
I'll
to do the next question?
I can do it. Let's see. What type of competition do you think you could win?
All right. I don't think Ryan and I were talking about this before you came here. Chris, I don't know if I could win anything that requires combat. I feel like there's always going to be
Same.
someone who's stronger than you, faster than you, more bloodthirsty than you. But I was thinking maybe an eating competition where there's food involved,
Yeah.
or even a trivia competition. I think I have chances of winning.
I think
Yeah.
music
Go ahead.
music trivia, like because growing up, my
Music
dad like
trivia.
if it was a song on the radio, I would get quizzed on it because my dad's really into music.
Hmm.
So he's like, "What band is it? What song?" And then like give me random bonus facts about either the band or the song on like music trivia. Like I did when the theme was Libraries Rock. I did a Jeopardy for it, and then I had to have my staff go through and tell me which questions were too hard. And and they're like, "Why?" They're like, "Where are you finding these questions?" I'm like, "My brain." And they're like, "Why do you have this information?" Yeah, and I'm like, "Okay, so I just have way more like useless music trivia than everybody else."
Yeah.
Tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, probably some sort of eating contest. I think I could win. Obviously a reading contest I could win. Haha. Book contest. I know there were some writing contests for like school that I put in for. I mean, I didn't win those at those time, but like that sort of thing I could probably do. Definitely never combat. No, I could never. Yeah, first of all, I'm a pacifist, so that's not my nature. But like I would be like, I'd be like the first one dead, and I'm stones or something. I'm like, that's it, I'm dead.
I feel like you and I would be at the cornucopia trying to get supplies, Ryan. And then
Yeah, something like that, maybe. Make like alliances or something.
I'd be going for weapons of like I did years of Taekwondo, so like I did do tournaments and like medals. So I was like,
yeah. And she does roller derby.
I was going to do roller derby too, so that's a competition.
Okay, so the problem is like my fiance is was the best jammer in the world at one point. So I'm like, well, I know exactly who's better than me at roller derby, and by how much. So I'm like, well, I definitely can't win unless like it's if we're matching up on like same level, solid choice. But otherwise, I'm like, I know all the people that are better than me at roller derby.
Wait, have you ever fought on the same team together as against a common opponent? Has that ever happened?
So no, because in order to do that, like I would either be way outmatched, or she doesn't really like neither of us really pull back. Like, so it would be risky because she'd be too aggressive. As like yeah, and like one time we like scrimmaged against each other because we're on like totally different teams, but she was helping coach that day for my team, and I like growing up doing taekwondo, like all the sports. I was like, I have no hesitation body checking you into the ground. I'm not afraid to do it. And she like is like, I can't do that. I feel like no, we're together. And I'm like, for the next 2 minutes, I will do whatever it takes to stop you from scoring points. I will, or score points, whatever. So I hit her, like she went flying. Like I was like, I am going to win. I'm going to get these points. Launched her, and as I'm like sprinting past, I'm like, I'm sorry. I love you. 4 points.
Wow.
So
that's a dilemma right there in a competition. With
no, that's true.
someone.
Yeah.
Do you sacrifice your loved one in order to get ahead? It's
Mm.
very,
True. Yeah, that would be a good plot point.
Speaking of plot points, if
Mm.
any one of you were to write a challenge book, what would it be about?
Mm.
It looks like someone already has an answer.
I do, because I wanted, at one point I was like, I will be a writer, and I was like, this is too much effort. But so I loved the Nickelodeon like challenges, like the aggro crag.
Oh, Guts. Yeah. Double
Guts.
Dare.
Thank you. I was like
Yes,
aggro crag and Legend of the Hidden Temple. Like I want to write a middle grade,
I love that one. Yeah.
like a middle grade book, bringing back kind of like that nostalgia. So like the adults would be like,
okay.
I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
But like starts off with like one of those kind of like Nickelodeon challenge things where obviously the like winner gets to go to space camp, but then like a mystery unfolds as well. So they're trying to like win the competition but also solve the mystery because someone stole the aggro crag or sabotaged the silver monkey because that thing never worked.
Cool. That's really cool.
We hope you write it. And we
read it. I definitely would read that. That sounds really cool. Just not because of the nostalgia factor, but just like using that as like the backdrop of it, is really cool.
Yeah. Ryan, do you have one?
Yeah, I think mine would be definitely more low key because there is like a lot of dystopian type competition books. So like something where oh gosh, what was the name of the movie?
Describe it to us. We may be able to help
Puzzle
you.
with Kelly MacDonald. She's from Boardwalk Empire. It is a movie for adults, but she enters into a jigsaw puzzle competition and like competitive jigsaw puzzles. So like the fastest you can do it and stuff. And it's really interesting. And it is a bit of a drama. So there's some like interpersonal relationships and things like that. But like just that aspect of it where she's doing the puzzles and stuff. I think something like that where it's very
puzzle 2018.
out of left field kind of, or like there was another one. I want to say if you can't stand the heat, it's like a YA romance one about cooking. That was really good. I'm just blanking on the author right now. But it's a cooking competition one. So something like that would be kind of fun. I don't think, again, for like the dystopian type stuff would be my kind of wheelhouse, but definitely something like fun and low key. What about you, Vince?
I would love to do one where it's set in an orphanage and only one orphan can be adopted per class. So I would love these orphans to do whatever it took to get adopted. Okay. And they've suffered. I would love for it to be like they've all suffered, either from the orphanage staff or being starved or everything. So they'll literally fight tooth and nail to be loved.
Okay.
So I would love to see that happen.
That's
just orphan kids.
Different. I'll give you credit. That's
getting climbing over each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I'm like,
God, it's definitely out of pocket. Yeah.
Oh, I read Promised Neverland, where like they're in like the orphanage,
Yes,
but like it's like
yes.
kind of like flipped of
Oh,
like
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
it
think I've
starts
seen that
off very
one.
peaceful and angelic, and then they
Mhm.
go out into the world and it's a nightmare dystopian. Instead, they're trying to get
Mm.
out and like get adopted. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
They're
cool
not
though. I
being
like that.
devoured in this one. Yes.
Okay.
But,
Oh, good. That's good.
I'd love to do the last question if that's all right with
Oh
the
yeah,
both of
sure,
you.
go for it.
Yeah.
What are some of you what are some of your go-to picks for Reader's Advisory in regards to these kinds of stories? And by these kinds of stories, we mean competitions
Mm,
or battle royales or
okay.
something where they have to go against each other and there are winners and there are losers. What's your go-to
Mm.
pick to recommend to your teens or to your readers?
Yeah, I'll go first because this actually ties into what we're talking about at roller derby. I just read a really good one called "Leave It on the Track" by Margot Fisher, and it's about a
Ooh,
teen who she has a family tragedy, so she moves into her sister's place, which is in Portland, and she joins the local roller derby. So
Rose
like there's
City.
that element of it.
oh,
Yeah,
that's
no, it's really
Chris's
good.
thing.
Yeah, no,
I
it's great.
haven't
Yeah,
read it because
no,
I
it's
have the
really
problem where
good.
I spend so much time involved in roller derby where I'm
Hmm.
like, that's wrong. That's
Yeah.
wrong.
Oh,
That's not
that's what
what we're.
when I was reading
That's
it, I was
very
thinking of
dated
you
roller
actually.
derby. So I was like,
Yeah. I was like, how much
I,
of this is correct? Like,
yeah.
What's the name of it again?
Leave It on the Track by Margot Fisher.
Leave it on.
They mentioned that movie with Elliot Page, Whiplash
Whip
too. I
it.
don't know if
Oh,
yeah,
there we
no,
go.
Whip it.
with it. That's it. Whiplash is the drummer one.
Yeah.
I always mix those two up. But that also is kind of a competition too because he's doing the music stuff. That's with Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons, but two different movies. They sound very similar. And the second one, which is a classic, and I'm actually surprised none of us mentioned it until just now, is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which has the
Oh,
competition
that
right
is a
there in it. Yeah,
competition.
so that
It
is,
is
yeah.
on my list of
Oh,
like
okay,
recommendations.
awesome. Nice. Yeah, so
Hopefully,
we
I
have the
didn't
same
copy your
baseline.
homework this time, unlike last time where I was like, my entire list is actually your list as well. So
Okay, that's probably fine then.
I want to
So
believe I
yeah,
have something different.
no, yeah, that's like I always feel like their first kind of competition, whether that's the movies or they've read the book in school, and I always feel like that's kind of a gateway into, say like the Hunger Games or something like that, or if they really like sports, you can get them into Josh Feinstein books, Mike Lupa books, Tim Green, Chris Crutcher wrote a lot of great sports books
Yes.
too with different competitions and stuff like that that are like sort of similar to Rocky, where it's not necessarily about winning the competition, it's more about the character growth and going that distance and stuff. So and I think it really just depends on what they can handle too, because I've had teens and tweens are like, I love the Hunger Games. What else is like this? And then some are like, I don't want anything like the Hunger Games. I want something like Check and Mate, where it's very sweet, simple, no violence. So it really just depends on where they're comfortable. Go ahead.
Um, I have two picks. Like you said, Ryan, I understand that not all families enjoy the Hunger
Hmm.
Games. Some of them definitely would not allow their kids to read it.
Yeah.
So for the ones who are not allowed to read that kind of thing, I would suggest Celestial Banquet, by
Mm.
Elizabeth Lim, which is basically a cooking competition
Oh,
involving
that
the
sounds fun.
gods. So
Okay.
basically, there's this chef, young noodle chef, who's hot-headed, and she enters a cooking competition. Whoever wins gets the peaches of immortality, and she enters this competition with all these other chefs. And they cook, scrambled eggs from the eggs of a phoenix nest, or they take the food that you make, and they come from mystical creatures and
That's
mythical
cool.
creatures.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it's low stakes, no one dies.
Hmm.
For the ones who do want Hunger Games and they're allowed to take it in brutal fiction, I would recommend All of Us Villains by Amanda Foody and Christy
That's on
Lamb
my list
Herman.
too. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a deadly magical tournament
Hmm.
between all the families in this city, and it's for the fight of control of magic.
Hmm.
So it's literally a fight to the death. These are kids raised by their families to be the best of the best, and they all will want who last person standing wins.
Hmm.
So, Chris,
Uh, So I have where is it? Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy Lin.
That's the T
No.
one.
It's the T
Oh,
one.
is that the one I keep seeing everywhere? Okay.
Yeah, it's a duology, so there's only 2
Okay.
volumes, which I'm like, cool,
That's
great.
okay though.
Because
Yeah,
it starts
that's
off as a competition, and then it turns into like
Mm.
a mystery element of like
Oh,
what's
that's
going
cool.
on, some like political intrigue and subterfuge happening. So I really like that. Also, it has Chinese culture in it as well, so it brings that element in. Because like some things are like, okay, I'm like, you can predict things because you're like, I know the stories, the legends, like the stuff it's based on.
Yeah.
And for readers that are not like as familiar, you're like, oh, things are twists because I'm not as familiar with like what it's based off of. So I really like that one. And then the Scorpio races I love, but for like people are like, I want kind of like a competition, but like again, like not, Hunger Games esque.
Mhm.
Or like they're like, I want like cutesy girly kind of things. Puddin' and Dumplin'. Those two, because
Right.
Ooh.
Yes.
it's a
Yeah.
competition, but it's also dealing
Mhm.
with like
Body image.
body issues,
Body
body
images, yep,
images, her mom, all of that
Mhm.
as well. So like it's got competition and it's
Yeah.
like part of it. And like then also Miss Meteor is it's basically like small town like Miss America but for a small town. But it also pulls in like elements of like magic, and she tells you right pretty early on like she's an alien and like she's going to turn into stardust, and you're like,
Sounds
is this
familiar. Yeah,
real?
yeah.
So it's got some magical realism in there, but also like
Mhm.
alien,
That's
and it's
cool.
like not too alien-y where I don't
Mhm.
like aliens. I find them scary. um, and then it's like also LGBT too, and it's like
Mhm.
there's a competition, and it's so good because like we've all had that friend that you drifted apart as you got older. And she's like, I'm going to team up with the girl that used to be my best friend and won't talk to me anymore. Good, because I need to win this competition. And so you get to like see them mend their friendship, and I love any book that's like, we will fix our friendship that like fell apart. I'm like,
Mm.
I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, they're friends again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's sweet.
I love that.
Mhm.
And I love how you picked the T1 Magic Steeped in Poison because Celestial Banquet is also rooted in Southeast Asian cuisine. It's
Mm.
actually Roselle Lim, not Elizabeth Lim. There's another author.
Yeah, yeah.
It's Roselle Lim, and I love that. I love that when it's something edible. It's not
Mm.
something you have to kill them. No, I
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
make something for you to consume.
I
Okay,
think
so
that's
after you read it, did you go out and like find like either make or like try some of the like what the recipes were based off of?
A lot of the rest. I mean, one of them was.
I mean,
fried
obviously you're
rice,
not going to
and I
find a
make that
phoenix egg.
already. But I'm a regular foodie. Like I watch people do food vlogs and mukbang. So whenever I watch something in a movie that has food or read something, I just go on YouTube. I'm like, all right, let's watch people eat.
Nice. There's
But
a food guy. I forget what his name on YouTube is, but he goes around and does like all those big challenges, like the world's biggest pancake breakfast,
oh
big
my
omelets, like all
gosh,
those diner
whoa.
things. Yeah. If I can remember it is, I'll send it to you later.
Okay.
But he's like this really like pencil thin guy too. It's really funny. But he's like always like it's like this thing is made of 40 eggs and 10 pounds of bacon and 23 tomatoes and like, oh my gosh, that would
Jeez.
like, and you got to eat it in an hour and you only get this T-shirt and bragging rights and that's it. But he's like, I'm gonna do it. So
Oh, speaking of YouTube, food people, have you watched Babish? Because
yes,
Binging
yeah,
with
Okay.
Babish.
Babish,
Binging with
yes.
Babish, and then they have like
My
the whole
God.
like anime series with Alvin, and I'm like,
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, show me how to make the things from the anime. I'm not going to
Mhm.
do it because I don't like cooking, but I want to watch you do it.
Yeah.
What I
Fun.
love most is that he simplifies whatever the
Yes.
actual way of cooking something is. He's like, all right, but if you don't have enough time in the day like I do, this is an easier way of doing it. I love that. I love that you watch that. Oh, that makes me happy.
I know. I also really enjoy his like ranking videos of like, okay, because he does one where he's like, what's the best water? And I'm like, some water tastes weird. Like,
Yeah, that's
and we
true.
all
No,
know what
that's
brands
true.
they are. You're like, what's
Yeah.
wrong with this
Why
bottled
does
water?
this taste weird? Yeah.
And he's like going through. He's like, this water, the water ranking is so hard, and I'm like, but you're gonna get to the bad ones, and like he like pulls. I'm like, that one has a weird aftertaste. He's like, it has an aftertaste. I'm like, it's not me.
All right. So,
Is there anything else you guys
you-
want to talk
do.
to our readers about before we wrap up for the podcast?
Just
think-
that we're going to be starting teen volunteering in a couple of months. Sale's going to start kicking off May 1st. So if you're interested in that, check the website. You can apply to be a teen volunteer or a teen book reviewer or a teen media reviewer. Those are
And
really
that
cool.
could be a competition in itself.
Mhm,
You compete
yep,
against
that's true.
other volunteers to whoever gets the most volunteers gets bragging
Yep.
rights.
There you go.
I can only fit 8 in my building.
Well, let's see if we can fit more than 8 in her building. you
Yeah,
guys.
let's see if we can do it this year.
All
Come
right.
on.
Thank you so much for talking
you.
with us, and
Yeah.
we hope to see you all for the next one. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us today. Be sure to check out the Ocean County Library's website for more podcasts and events. All titles mentioned in today's episode can be found through the Ocean County Library, free with your library card. Until next time, happy reading.